Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the webinar, NRPM Past and Present, Effective Strategies to Engage Your Community. I'm Reynolds. I'm the Outreach and Prevention Specialist, and then I'm also joined with Jamin Draves, who's the Volunteer Coordinator. Most questions we're going to save for the end, but if there's anything you need answered right away and we can, Jamin will be fielding those questions in the question box. But let's get started. So here are a few objectives that I hope you walk away with towards the end of this webinar. The first is to understand runaway and homeless youth issues. The next is to learn about the importance of supporting National Runaway Prevention Month, or NRPM, and also to recognize successful NRPM campaigns from our partners. And then finally, to identify effective ways to engage, ways you can support NRPM in your community. So today I'm joined here with Yorri from the National Network for Youth, Luisa Montes from YMCA of San Diego, and Cheryl Secorski from Colorado Department of Local Affairs. First, I will go over some runaway prevention and support in NRPM info, and then we'll hear from our panelists about what they've done in the past for NRPM and some future plans as well. So why is our work important? There's been data from Chapin Hall that shows that 1 in 30 adolescent minors and 1 in 10 young adults endure some form of homelessness in a year. And this can include running away, being kicked out, and couch surfing. These statistics really highlight why runaway prevention is so important to us here at NRS. And then with that being said, we're in a really unique position to tackle runaway prevention because over 50% of youth that are contacting us are still at home and not yet on the streets. So we offer the following intervention and prevention services. We connect youth to community resources and support. So youth can contact us through a hotline number, email, forum, or chat, and depending on what they need or want, we can connect them with resources and services in their area from our database. Our employees and volunteers are also trained to use our crisis intervention model in which we problem solve with youth. Youth can also access our Home Free program, which is where we partner with Greyhound and grant free bus tickets to youth that have left home but want to return. And then finally, we serve as a listening ear and are there for youth who are in need and need someone to just talk to. NRS also supports communities and organizations in awareness and prevention. And we do this by having educational blogs that highlight the issues runaway and homeless youth face, but also the resources that are available to them. We have a free runaway prevention curriculum, which is 13 modules and covers a variety of topics like anger management and communication and listening. And this curriculum really helps youth develop and learn specific life skills that can help mitigate a run episode, and also they can learn how to connect to different services and resources. And then finally, every year we lead the National Runaway Prevention Month awareness campaign, which we'll go over in the next few slides. So what is NRPM? It's an annual awareness and prevention month campaign, which is focused on runaway and homeless youth issues, and it happens every November. This is where participants across the country can host activities and events that highlight experiences of runaway and homeless youth and how individuals and organizations can play a role in ending youth homelessness. NRPM also highlights available resources and assists communities in creating a stronger safety net for at-risk and homeless youth. So the goals of NRPM are twofold. The first is to raise awareness of the runaway and homeless youth crisis and the issues that these young people face. And then the second goal is to educate the public about solutions and the role that can play in runaway prevention and ending youth homelessness. And to the right of the screen, you can see our logo, National Runaway Prevention Month. This can be downloaded on our NRPM webpage along with other materials that I'll highlight throughout this presentation. And we'll have this linked throughout the presentation, and I'll also send up a follow-up email at the end where you can access this and the other materials. So the theme of NRPM is Shine a Light. meaning NRPM is shining a light on the issues runaway and homeless youth face. NRPM is shining a light on the important resources available for youth in crisis. It's bringing together communities to provide a safe and caring environment for youth. And lastly, NRPM, with the support of community organizations, can show America's runaway and homeless youth that they're not alone. So over the next few slides, we can go over into some more details about NRPM events that we've planned. At first, it first starts off on November 1st, which is Facebook Profile Picture Day, and this kicks off. You can add a Shine a Light filter to your Facebook profile so you can show your support of runaway and homeless youth for the entire month of November. There are detailed instructions on how to find the frame on our website, but you can also do this on our toolkit. But you can do so how you'd normally find any Facebook frame. And then next is the week of November 4th through 8th, which is Education Week. And during this week, we'll be sharing information about RHY issues. For example, we'll be providing current statistics, exploring what RHY means and what it can look like for different people, and then also discuss the challenges of navigating different systems. And we'll be doing this online through our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then during this week on November 5th, we'll be holding a Twitter chat. And this is where different organizations and individuals can engage in a discussion about runaway and homeless youth. And there's written instructions how to do so on our website, but you can join and follow along if you type in the hashtag NRPM chat, which is right there on the page, into the search bar on Twitter. And then on Tuesday, November 12th is Wear Green Day. And it kind of just is what it sounds like. It's a day where you can wear green. And this is just a really easy and fun way to get involved in NRPM and raise awareness. And then for some added impact, we ask that individuals and groups can post these pictures on social media and use the hashtag NRPM 2019. This way, anyone who clicks the hashtag can see what's going on with NRPM, and also we can interact with anyone who's participating on social media. And then finally, the last event is Light the Night Community Events, which is on Tuesday, November 19th. And this is where youth service agencies, community groups, and individuals across the country will be hosting events to shine a light on the issues and show solidarity with youth in crisis. So some examples we've seen are people using flashlights, candles, and other forms of light. We've also seen in the past people hosting events such as a resource fair or a sleep out. And then with these events, Light the Night community events and anything else you're holding in your area, please send an email to me. I'll have that available at the end of anything you're planning, because we want to be able to highlight our partners and anyone participating in events on our website and social media. And with this, we're really trying to put together a shared calendar so that anyone can see the list of events for organizations are holding for NRPM. And for example, if there's an individual interested in participating in an event, they can just look on our calendar online and see something that's in their area. And then we also have an NRPM toolkit and messaging guide. It's available for download on 1-800-RUNAWAY.org/NRPM. I've also attached this to the webinar along with another document. But in the toolkit and messaging guide, it has events and activities, so just kind of more details of what I went over and a few more activities you can hold in your community just for hosting these events, tips on communication, spreading the word, and just how to really message this and how to talk about it on social media and on different platforms. Then it also has statistics and talking points. And then at the bottom of the screen, you can see a few infographics that we have. I've also attached these to the webinar, and they're available on our website to download. In this document, too, there's a blank one with just the light bulbs, so you can add maybe something specific to your community, for youth that you're working with, or your organization, so you can kind of create your own graphic. And here are just some ways to get involved in NRPM. We'll hear more from our partners in a bit on how they've gotten involved in their community and hosted events. But one is to host a panel discussion with leaders and youth in your community. You can also develop a display about runaway homeless youth to have in your community. You can host a fundraiser. You can partner with a local organization and hold events that way. You can also use the Let's Talk Runaway Prevention curriculum, which I briefly mentioned, which is available on our website to download. You can also participate in the Green Light Project, and this is where you can light up different things green in your community. So, for example, last year we had the Navy Pier Ferris wheel in Chicago turn green. So that's just an example of some things that you can do. Also, you can host a community presentation, and a sample template is available on our website and through our toolkit. And you can also involve local government and request that they grant a proclamation for NRPM, and we have these materials available as well. And finally, promote our services and other resources and services to youth in need. And social media is a really big part of this campaign to let your followers and other contacts know about NRPM. And it's as easy as a like, click, or share. And you can connect with us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And again, if you're posting anything about NRPM, just make sure to use the hashtag so we can interact with you that way. Now I'm going to turn to the panelists, and we can hear from them. And I'm just going to give a quick little introduction before we begin. So we're joined here with Yorri Berry, and she serves as the Director of Youth Partnerships at the National Network for Youth in Washington, D.C. And at National Network for Youth, she oversees the National Youth Advisory Council, who educate policymakers, service providers, and community officials throughout the country in youth and young adult homelessness in America and advocate for solutions. She has a decade of combined youth development, project management, youth development, program design, and organizational oversight experience in both the private and public sectors. We're also going to hear today from Luisa Montes. She's the Impact Communications Director for the YMCA of San Diego County, the Community Support Services branch. She focuses on issues of youth homelessness, child welfare, and early childhood education, and specializes in social impact communication, a strategic approach to explaining social issues in a way that inspires action. She combines knowledge of nonprofit and for-profit environments and a passion for public good in advance mission-driven objectives. So she's a Bay Area native, and she's a graduate of University of Southern California, and currently she's pursuing a master's in public administration. And then last but not least is Cheryl Secorski. She moved from Grand Rapids, Michigan to Denver, Colorado after receiving a bachelor's degree in public and nonprofit administration from Grand Valley State University. Working with the state of Colorado's Division of Housing as a homeless program specialist for youth, she works directly with the community to improve systems to prevent youth homelessness and improve outcomes for youth who are housing insecure. Cheryl's passion for working with youth ignited during her involvement with AmeriCorps and also United Way of Weld County. So first we're going to hear from Yorri from the National Network for Youth. And National Network for Youth is a public education and policy advocacy organization dedicated to prevention and the eradication of youth homelessness. We're going to turn to you, Yorri.
I first want to thank the National Runaway Safeline for including us on this webinar and partnering with us and others to truly educate and empower everyone on how we as leaders and organizations can better support and serve young people who have run away or been expelled from home. Good afternoon. My name is Yorri Berry, and as mentioned, I serve as the Director of Youth Partnerships at the National Network for Youth in Washington, D.C., where I'm primarily responsible for our youth engagement efforts and partnering with RHY providers, federal agencies, and national organizations to truly amplify the voices and lived experiences of young leaders on our National Youth Advisory Council and beyond who have all experienced homelessness, many who also ran away from home. So when asked the question, how did NN for Y get involved in NRPM, it happened years ago, and every year since we've partnered with the National Runaway Safeline during NRPM. We plan to support NRPM this year similarly to how we've supported in previous years. One thing that we do and definitely encourage others to do is to post information on our website. We have a web page on our site solely dedicated to NRPM, where we talk about the history of NRPM, what it is, why it exists, data on how many young people run away from home each year, so readers can better understand why they need to support this, not just in November, but every month of the year. We also include links to help guide leaders and organizations to how they too can shine a light on NRPM through various methods, including downloading the NRPM toolkit and messaging guide. We include a sample press release if others want to spread the word through a press release. We have sample proclamation requests if organizations want to request that their elected officials sign a proclamation for NRPM. And we also highlight the national events happening on select days, as mentioned earlier in this webinar, in November. In addition to our NRPM webpage, which is regularly updated during NRPM, we send out a weekly newsletter to NN4Y member organizations across the country and others of the events for the week, and then also tips of how they can really get involved locally and also through social media. Furthermore, we engage our young leaders who are connected year-round, day in and day out to NN4Y, all of whom have experienced homelessness, many of whom who have run away from home, to truly drive these efforts. So it's not just us as organizational leaders, but us in partnerships with the young people who have experienced this firsthand, because young people are sometimes the best advocates for causes that impact them and their peers, and also the best advocates to engage their peers. Ultimately, at the National Network for Youth, we provide tools and resources to communities we partner with across the country with various suggestions on how they and the young people they serve can participate in NRPM, while simultaneously encouraging them to educate others in their community on the very real challenges impacting young people who have run away, and the real tangible efforts and strategies of how local communities can truly come together and help end youth homelessness. In closing, what I'd say is, whether it's uploading information on your organization's website, utilizing social media to educate and empower others, engaging elected officials, sending weekly updates via newsletter or email of ways within your network that folks can become involved, and partnering with young people you serve to join forces and truly add their voices to this important cause. If you're not already involved, get involved. If you're already involved, stay involved, and just know that our young people need us to not merely stand up and speak up for them, but truly invite them to the table as we're planning and as we're implementing these efforts during NRPM, because doing this work for them is good, but doing this work with them is better. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Yorri. I think that's a really important point to having youth voice in this and involving them in your community efforts as well. Next, we're going to hear from Luisa from YMCA of San Diego County. And the YMCA of San Diego County is dedicated to improving the quality of human life and to helping all people realize their fullest potential through the development of the spirit, mind, and body. So you can take it away.
Thanks, Rachel. Great. Well, we're so grateful for the chance to speak with you all today. This is a wonderful topic, and we're so excited to share this space with the panelists and the rest of the team here to bring light to such an important issue that we are all looking forward to honoring and recognizing again this year. So you may all know the YMCA as a place to work out or take swimming lessons. And here in San Diego, we actually have a large department or branch of our association specifically devoted to social services. This department serves the entire county of San Diego, and just to give you a sense of that scope, it's roughly the size of the state of Connecticut. So it's a pretty big area, and that leaves quite a bit of room for youth and families for us to serve, specifically about 973 youth experiencing homelessness and housing instability in the county. Our services are offered free or on a sliding scale to meet the needs of our families, so we don't have the same membership model as our gyms. This means we're mostly funded by grants or other community investments, so it's really important for us to get our message and our work in front of the right audiences. We focus on mental and behavioral health, family support for child welfare involved families or relative caregivers, transition age youth development, and of course, specific to today's discussion, housing and services for youth who have run away or are facing housing instability. Across 20 programs, we serve a little over 4,000 individuals directly each year, and we have about 80 beds for youth in the county through a mix of overnight shelter and transitional housing. We actually got our start all the way back in 1970 when the local probation office approached the YMCA to develop a sort of prevention program for vulnerable youth. A few years after that, it evolved into a basic center shelter, and we've been involved with youth in crisis and the Runaway Safeline ever since. Specific to National Runaway Prevention Month, we've made a concerted effort to recognize it more and more each year. The YMCA of San Diego County is the second largest YMCA in the nation. So you can imagine being a part of an organization this large has both its blessings and challenges when it comes to communicating. We have a lot of name recognition in our community, and we're really grateful for that, but it's often tied to our recreational services, our gyms and our pools. So we're glad that National Runaway Prevention Month gives us a moment in time where we can highlight social services specifically. We had done some awareness building in the past with, flyers in our gym facilities or making green t-shirts for staff. And that was a really great start. And last year we made a really concerted effort to kind of elevate the issue even more. And it involved the multi-platform communication strategy that you'll see in these slides. And I'll note here that we approached this with the intention of doing even more than building awareness. We really wanted to get to the root of the issue and explain why our readers, our members, and our community at large should care, while also hoping that they were moved to act. So every blog post or every communication with them had some sort of call to action, whether it's emailing us for more information, sharing the information with your own network, or of course donating, links to donate to on our pages on the website. So we started by drafting up 4 blog posts before the start of National Runaway Prevention Month. That gave us 1 blog post for each week of the month that tackled a different issue. For example, why the focus on the youth population is significant, what our local community does to support runaway and homeless youth, and then our specific program's impact on the issue. And you can see those in the 4 sort of snippets at the bottom of this slide right here. This own content gave us a chance to weigh in on a conversation that was already happening nationally and drive readers to specific pages on our website while establishing us as experts in the field. And once we had that content, we could repurpose it on our social media accounts to supplement the NRPM toolkit that we were already using. So it was a nice way of blending a couple of approaches, using existing content and also adding our own little spin for that thought leadership expertise angle. We also drove readership by starting an email newsletter for our donors and other community members. This is something that we had always had in the back of our mind, but never really knew how to get off the ground. So once again, this month was a really great chance for us to sort of pilot this idea and test out how we would communicate with our community on an ongoing basis. And you can see some of that information from the newsletter on the right, where the pictures are. There's resources at the Y. It kind of gives you the statistics to frame the issue, and then what our program responses are within our association. Aside from some of these digital efforts, we took part in the local march to raise awareness about the issue, wearing our green t-shirts, of course. And we did participate in the Twitter chat. It was our first one. It was a little nerve-wracking, but it was very exciting. We found it was a really valuable opportunity to connect with other organizations and see what other folks in the field are doing. So you can see that in the Twitter snippet from our executive director right up at the top left area. And once the campaign was over, we dove into the available analytics to determine if it was worth our investment of time. So, you know, nonprofits are always really strapped for resources, constantly trying to do more with less. So this is a great way for us to determine if it really was worth our efforts and adjust accordingly. So using an analytics tool that we have through our headquarters, we tracked our readership numbers, so how many visitors to the blog post, how long they stayed on the pages, did they leave immediately, did they click around, that kind of thing. We looked at the open and click-through rates on our email newsletters, as well as any unsubscribes, because we definitely had some of those too. And this gave us a moment to do some continuous quality improvement, so we could loosely measure the ROI on our efforts. And if these tools are available to you, even maybe not all of them, but even some of them, you know, Twitter has some light analytics, you can definitely dig into those to move beyond awareness building and also get a sense of what actions resulted from your communication. And this approach is definitely scalable for organizations of any size. Like I said, we do have a pretty big operation here at our disposal. We have a web team, a marketing team, and even a media relations team that got us a quick spot on local news. But even if you're a smaller agency and you want to do the same thing, you can put your blog posts there on a free platform, email out the links to your stakeholders. Twitter is also free and a great way to join in on the conversation, but it does take some dedication and time to maintain your presence. So just be aware of that, because you do want to stay active and use that as a place to demonstrate your expertise as well. And this year, we're excited to continue our involvement in partnership with NRS. We might repurpose some of the same content from last year's blog post in the name of efficiency, but we also have new developments to share. So it's always good to keep folks updated on the latest that you're working on. For example, we just purchased an apartment complex. So we have 22 more units to house 44 youth in crisis, and that's a big push for us this year to get some capital to support that. So that is a nice way to, again, kind of weave together a national conversation and what's happening in your local community to really bring it home for folks who may not know the importance of NRPM and the issues of runaway and homeless youth. And we're so thankful that everyone who's here today is so committed to shining a light on this issue, and we look forward to seeing you on the Twitter chat this year and engaging with you all this November.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Luisa. So now we're going to hear from Cheryl from Colorado Department of Local Affairs, and the Division of Housing partners with local communities to create housing opportunities for Coloradans who face challenges of accessing affordable, safe, and secure homes.
Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be a panelist on this presentation and excited that you all were able to tune in today. I also want to thank you guys for letting me speak about this really exciting topic. So I've been in this position about 3 years, and I oversee the Office of Homeless Youth Services for the state of Colorado. And that puts us in a really unique position because it gives us a good opportunity to help provide capacity to some smaller agencies. And so that's what we were hoping, the role we were hoping to play in this effort. And so that's why some of the tools that we created are helpful, because sometimes working with really small organizations and sometimes working with really large organizations. And so taking the really great toolkit that has already been developed, and last year we turned it into a calendar, which you can see here, really does help because it can go to any size agency and they know exactly what social media posts to put up. And then it helps align a lot of the efforts that all agencies across the state are using. So hopefully service providers across the state or people who are interested in youth homelessness are seeing the same message all over the place. Some of the great things that I think we've done in previous years, we do have the governor sign a proclamation declaring November Colorado Runaway and Homeless Youth Awareness Month. And then the last week on that calendar that was on the previous slide, we dedicate to Colorado. So we use kind of the template of how the calendar is organized to really highlight some Colorado specific things. Last year, we had some really exciting things happen. So we released $1 million dedicated to youth programs. So agencies could apply to the Division of Housing for funding to operate youth housing programs. And so it was really fun to be able to kick off the month with that great big announcement and $1 million, which is no small chunk of change. And so those were some of the exciting things that we've done last year. Of course, we always try and go green. In the Division of Housing, we have a lot of housing providers and a lot of different agencies who kind of learn from us. And so we put on a presentation for Division of Housing staff to really educate them on the different aspects of serving youth. And then this year, we're really hoping to make the month more interactive. So we again made the calendar, kind of based it on the same template, but made sure to include some of those really exciting events that are happening nationally. So we're connected to the national that way. But we're hoping to do some interviews. We have an author who wrote a academic text about homelessness, and so we're going to be interviewing them about that book. Then we're also hopefully going to be doing a little more interaction with our youth action boards that exist across the state. So we're still working on some of the things that we're going to do, but hopefully we're making it more interactive. And of course, we're going to be staying on top of things like the Twitter chat and all of that. And really everything that we are working on is really just to make it the easiest way that agencies can participate, regardless of the size of their organization. So we really have tried to take that on as our role, is to simplify it so every agency can participate in some awareness raising. And just in closing, I think youth homelessness is one of the most hidden populations of people experiencing homelessness. And that's why I think the Shine the Light On motto is such a beautiful thing to connect with this population, because not only are we raising awareness, which is like what happens when you shine a light on things, but I also think it's really empowering because this is a population that isn't often highlighted. It's not often what you see when you drive down the streets. And so a lot of people, they have a lot of misconception about what youth homelessness is, and some of the contributing factors, I think, also are really miscommunicated. So I think this is just such a great opportunity to get some of those facts out there and really kind of change that perception. And we are really excited this month, or this year, I guess, the month of November, to really highlight the youth homelessness in schools part of it. So that Education Week, I think, is going to be really big for Colorado in working across silos and also highlighting some of the inflows into homelessness. So that's what we got going on over here in Colorado.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cheryl. I think that's a really good point too, going off the theme for Shine a Light. That's kind of one of the reasons we added Education Week this year, to show what, youth homelessness can look like for different people experiencing it. It doesn't always look the same, and just to educate the public more about the barriers and different issues that are going on. So then just a few more slides before we'll take some questions. But we do have an NRPM partnership, so you can become an official partner. It's free, and you can do so by clicking this link and filling out the form. It's pretty much just having your name, your email, and any other information. And this is just a way to really show that you support NRPM. We list all our partners on our website, but then also we'll send out any important NRPM details or any updates and things like that with our partners. So it's just a way to communicate like that way. And then these are a link to some of the resources that we talked about. So again, you can access some more information at 1-800-runaway.org/NRPM. We also have some free promotional materials about NRS, which you could have if you're doing a community presentation or display. We also have a link to download our free Let's Talk Runaway Prevention curriculum. And then we also have some more information online, like trend reports, statistics, and other things like that. And then also a YouTube channel with different PSAs, a few NRPM videos, just short video clips, and things like that on our YouTube page as well. And this is my contact information, so please, if you have any questions about NRPM, anything else regarding NRS, or just becoming a partner, please feel free to shoot me an email and we can talk that way. But right now, we'll field some time for some questions. You can type those in the box. You can ask me or any of our partners. And also, I just want to remind everyone that this is being recorded, just to let everyone know. So let's see. Sorry, I'm just reading a few of the questions right now. Someone asked, will the partnership link be available today on your website? Yeah, it is available now, so you can do it that way. Again, I'll be sending a follow-up email with different links too, with also a recording and a copy of the presentation, so you can click the partnership link that way and fill it out. So there's a few questions also about certificates that I see. If anyone does need a certificate or want one for anything, please just email me at the email here, rreynolds@1-800-runaway.org, and we'd be happy to send you one. Yeah, so then also someone, I guess, just asked, is there anywhere I can take a survey about the webinar? We will be also sending that in the follow-up email as well. Someone asked if I wanted to find local statistics on number of homeless youth in my area, where should I look? And do we have any resources that could help? So we do have some caller statistics on our website. If you are having trouble finding it, please email me. But we list it by area code of callers, and we can give you number of calls and things like that. And if you want some more, please contact me, and I can work with you to getting some more specific information if you want help with that. We'll stay around for a few more questions if anyone has some. If there's something that comes to mind later, of course, email me again. But I see a few people leaving, but I just wanted to give another thank you to our panelists for participating and everyone who joined the webinar. I'm really looking forward to seeing what everyone has planned and working together with everyone for NRPM, and I'm really excited about it.
Thank you for organizing.
Thank you.